Welcome to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me as always is new Michael, Kevin, Jack.
I'm here, and if you like unnecessarily shortening words and long, rambling, run-on sentences, you've come to the right place with this week's comic book.
As you can tell by that introduction. Yeah.
Yeah.
But today we are reading Astonishing Tales, issue 26 from 1974, and this stars Deathlok.
Yeah, Deathlok.
And Deathlok is a cyborg assassin.
Yep. I guess in theory, yeah.
And do you know why his name is Deathlok?
That's a good question. I don't. You stumped me.
And it's Lock, just L-O-K at the end.
L-O-K, yeah.
And it's because he's locked in a death-like, what's the word I'm looking for?
State?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Deathlock state.
Huh. Okay, so he's a corpse that is no longer decomposing. He's just stuck that way.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into his history here in a minute. But this is the first. Michael and I did a Marvel 2-in-1 or something with Spider-Man and Deathlok many years ago. But this is the first fully focused issue on just Deathlok. And wow.
This is probably the first Deathlok issue I've ever read that was focused on him. I think I remember him in a lot of, Spider-Man appearances, like they fought the Sinister Six together and stuff like that. There was a whole Spider-Man who had like a robot arm there, or at least like partially robot parts or something. Yeah.
This is weird. Yeah, this is easily the most confusing book we've ever done on the show.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree with that.
I had to go back and break it down. What happened? Where are we exactly?
Yeah, there's I don't know, like a twist, like a horror movie-esque twist, I guess, that they didn't set up or explain well. So it's like, what's happening here? Usually you have a big reveal. There's like, oh, okay, I get it now. But nope, they just plowed right past it.
And there's like a flashback within the story.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell when the flashback ended.
Yep.
They just blended together. It's like, wait, what? I don't know. All right, we'll get into all that in a second. So if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're up to 326 subscribers. We picked up 2 more. And no one is watching the Spellbound episode. So.
Yeah, I guess I kind of expected that. But, you got to take some
Conan did really well. Spellbound?
Well, yeah, Conan did sell well. Spellbound, I don't think ever did.
Yeah, that is true. 4 times as many people have watched the video as purchased the Spellbound comics. We're still doing good. All right. Also, I got a book out there called Monkey Flip. You'll love it. All right. So, Deathlok, because he's stuck in I screwed it up again. Because he's locked in a death-like state.
Yeah.
Deathlok. All right. So, before we get into Deathlok, though, let's talk Astonishing Tales a little bit. Not to be confused with Tales to Astonish.
Oh, that's the thing that I was thinking of last week.
That's what, after the show last week, we were both confused. We both confused it with Tales to Astonish. But yeah, this is Astonishing Tales. Completely different. And because Tales to Astonish was like the 1960s thing, and a lot of superheroes appeared in that throughout the 60s and stuff. But Astonishing Tales was from 1970 to 1976. And it was published bi-monthly, and it lasted 36 issues.
Okay.
That's something. And the first 8 issues featured 2 10-page stories. The first starred Kazar, and then the second one was always Dr. Doom.
Ooh, nice. Dr. Doom getting some time to shine.
Yeah. And Kazar was the solo story then. After issue 8, Dr. Doom went away. So then, yeah, they just rode with Kazar. They're like, hey, here's our money. Here's the money. And
didn't Kazar have his own like 2 different books going on? Like, how much Kazar do we need?
I think this led to the Kazar book.
Oh, okay.
This. Also, I think it was in issue 6 of this series, the first appearance of Bobby Morse.
Oh, look at that, the old Mockingbird.
That's right. She'd go on to be Mockingbird. But anyway, so Kazar was then the solo feature until issue 20. And then the star of the show was It, the Living Colossus.
Ooh, it's hard to build a comic around that guy, I think.
I don't even know what that is really, but
big monster, I think.
Yeah. I think he was a monster that started like years earlier, right? And they brought him and
yeah.
So anyway, but he was the star from like issues 21 through 24, and then Deathlok came in with issue 25, and he closed out the series. Except issue 29 was a reprint of a Guardians of the Galaxy story from 1969. So for some reason, I guess they missed the deadline.
Yeah. They're like, nobody's buying Deathlok. Let's just do reprints. See how that goes.
So Astonishing Tales also had a second volume in 2009, and that was a 6-issue limited series. Are you familiar with that at all?
1989. I don't think I've read that one. No.
2009.
Oh, 2009. Yes, actually, I think that one I did. I think I owned that one. I don't think I ever read it.
There you go. Yeah, I looked at the covers. It seemed like Wolverine was involved, and
yeah,
Spider-Woman maybe, and Iron Man, or like issue 4 or something. I don't know. I don't know. Oh.
Yeah, there's been, I think, a lot of different Deathlocks. I remember there was one they tried in like the late 90s. Like, it was supposed to be part of that whole cyber, I don't know what they called the initiative, but it was like they gave Warlock his own book, and like X-51, the Machine Man, and stuff like that. And then there was a new Deathlock who was really, super grim and gritty, and I think he was like a white guy who wasn't really that dead. I don't know. That's terrible.
That's not good.
Yeah.
He's not even locked in a death-like state.
I'm not getting what I paid for here at all.
There's been a lot of Deathlocks over the years.
Yeah.
Quite a few. Hey, I don't know, I like that show Marvel or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that was on. And they brought Deathlok onto that show.
Yeah, that's right. Played by J. August Richards from Angel.
Wow, you actually know his name.
Yeah, that's right.
You know Angel as well. That's crazy. But from what I was reading today, that British girl on there, that show, who's the scientist lady?
Yeah. Sure.
Jenna Simmons, I think was his character name. Well, they had a comic book version of the TV show. And at some point in that comic book version, she becomes a Deathlok.
Oh, look at that.
That's crazy.
What a wacky world.
I know, it blew my mind. So, anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But the Deathlok we're doing here today, this is the original Deathlok, the real Deathlok, and he is locked in a death-like state.
Yeah. I remember there was also a character called Deathlocket, who was like a little girl version of Deathlok. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But Deathlok, his real name is Luther Manning, and his first appearance was Astonishing Tales issue 25, 1974, created by Rich Buckler, the artist of this here issue, and Doug Moench is the writer for this book. And we've done a lot of Doug Moench stuff. He did a lot of Batman stuff over the years. And
did he do the Dead Man issue he did?
Could have. Yeah, I can't remember, but he did a lot of stuff. So we've talked about him several times. And
but usually I remember it being pretty decent, unlike this, which was just a mess.
Yeah, Doug Moench is recognized as a very good writer, and Rich Buckler, classic comic book artist, and he created Deathlok as a character for a novel. I guess he was going to do, but then Marvel wanted to use it because what Marvel was trying to do, they were trying to get the rights to the $6 Million Man. and Charlton Comics beat him out for it. So
MU.
Deathlok is kind of similar, and in a way, because it's a half man, half robot. But Buckler, he decided to adapt the character a bit, and he decided I'll make him like the antithesis of the $6 Million Man. So while Lee Majors is a handsome fella, he made Deathlok an ugly guy. He's not a
He's
handsome.
locked in his death-like state.
Yeah, he's like a rotting corpse of a robot. And he also says, well, Lee Majors, he loved the what was it? Steve Austin was the character name, right?
Yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
But he liked technology and stuff. But Deathlok hates technology, and he hates the fact that he's a robot and everything. So,
yeah, when you look like that, I could see why he'd have that that reasoning. Although I guess, to be fair, Deathlok, you were dead. They reanimate you, so your choices are death or this. Yeah, they turned you into this willy nilly.
Yeah, it's not like he was just sitting around, watching Alf reruns one day and they came in and grabbed him.
Yeah.
I mean, he tried to save him, kind of, in a way.
Yeah. I guess that they're making your corpse into a slave, but
well, yeah,
can't be choosers.
Tomato. All right, so the story was originally set in 1990, and again, this book came out in 1974. So they're looking into the future,
far-flung future. Yeah.
And I guess it was technically outside the Marvel universe at first, but then he, like you mentioned, he's in with Spider-Man and everything. So they did transition him back.
Yeah, he time travels or something.
Yeah.
One of those deals. Yeah.
But Luther Manning was an Army colonel, and he'd been in obviously he'd been in the Army for a while and worked his way up the ladder. And they were doing some war games one day. I don't know why a colonel would be doing war games, but a concussion mine blew up and it killed him.
Yeah.
So,
or as this book says, a cushion mine, because they got to abbreviate things unnecessarily.
And it obviously ravaged his body too, so his face got blown up and everything. And because he his face, it's messed up. It's it's kind of like half robot, half human face, but the face is messed up, right? So.
Yep. Yeah, it's very burnt to shit.
Yeah, he almost looks he reminds me kind of like a robot Jonah Hex in a way.
Yeah. Except even more far gone. Yeah.
His nose.
Jonah Hex has the skin kind of melted and hanging there. His skin seems to be mostly gone.
Yeah.
He's like a zombie combined with a robot.
And so after he died in that accident there's a fellow named Simon Riker. He was working on some CIA project, and they tried to save him. The project was called Project Alpha Mech, and it was to make cyborg super soldiers. And that's what they did. They turned him into a cyborg super soldier, but they thought he would just be like a corpse or whatever. They tried to reprogram out his personality. He was supposed to just be a machine, a robot machine, but his personality came back and took over the programming. So then he fought for his own freedom.
That's right. Yeah, he's kind of at war. I guess he has the computer telling him to do things, but then he's, yelling at it, no, I'm going to do what I want.
And he's got an attitude, this Luther Manning guy. He's he cracks wise, and he's angry a lot. Because he's locked in a death-like state. So, hard to get happy after that one.
Yeah. The dead are not usually that cheerful.
There is also talk in this book about a third personality. Did you pick up on that at some point?
I was so confused.
I didn't know what was going on.
I'm assuming that's the vision of his buddy that he's seeing is what he's talking about.
I don't know. It seemed like there's a third. I don't know, because you got his personality, Luther Manning, then you have the computer, and he calls the computer Pewter. That
was annoying as hell.
Yeah. And then it seemed like there's a third person. So, but because when he was mowing guys down with the machine gun, he's like, a third personality really comes in handy. So I don't know what that was about, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't see like different, boxes or something to indicate some other personality. So
I think they were trying to, like, yeah, because whenever it's Luther Manning's thoughts, it's a classic narration looking box in yellow. Then in the computer, it would be like a white box, and it's computer like fonts and everything, so you can tell the computer's talking. And then I think they had like bigger narration boxes outlined maybe a little bit, but I couldn't really tell a difference though. You know what I mean? Like between what was being said, and so I don't know. Again, did I mention
yeah.
this is the most confusing book we've ever read? It was very confusing.
Yep. Very hard to follow. Which should be a simple concept.
Yes. So yeah, it's just like Frankenstein monster coming to life going against his creator. That's basically what we're dealing with here with Deathlok.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
We should also say he was in stasis for like 5 years. Like, and he was legally declared legally dead during that time. So he had a wife named Janice. But, you know, she thought her husband's dead, so she got on foot. And she married one of his old buddies from the Army, a white fella named Mike Travers.
Boy, I think Todd McFarlane may owe some money.
That's right. I thought the same thing when I'm reading this. He just ripped off. Spawn just ripped off Deathlok.
Wow. Who knew?
Yeah, so in this issue, he's trying to find his buddy Mike Travers. I don't know. And then,
he apparently does not know that.
Yeah, I don't. Because then it seems like Mike Travers, he turns into something here at the end of this book.
Yeah. So he doesn't seem like a happily married fellow there, unless that lady's into some weird shit.
And again, this is only the second appearance of Deathlok, so unless all that got covered in issue 1, I guess, I don't know. I didn't even go back to look. But...
Huh. Yeah, it's amazing this character survived as long as it did with such a terrible origin that's very confusing. Like these early issues apparently are just nuts. I don't know. The character looks cool. Yeah. And I like the concept of, a man with robot parts. That's always good. Can't go wrong with that, but boy, the execution was lacking here.
Yeah. And Deathlok, he's like got superhuman strength and everything now that he's cybernetic robot and everything. And he also carries a gun, a pistol, a helium neon laser pistol. I don't know.
Huh, okay.
Guess that's intimidating.
Make everyone talk really high.
Yes. It becomes brighter and much more high pitched.
If he shoots that biker guy with it, no one will listen to his commands because he's got a weird squeaky chipmunk voice.
So that's Deathlok. Is there anything else about Deathlok you would like to say? Can we just get into this and try and
let's try to salvage this somehow.
Go ahead and describe the cover for us, Jay.
Okay, so we got the Astonishing Tales, and it's kind of very small, and the black banner that goes across the top, and it says Marvel Comics Group. There's kind of a little corner circle that has Deathlok there. It's not. He kind of looks like Deathstroke in that a little bit. Like you can just see the mask kind of split down the middle, but it's his face and the cyborg part.
And you can see like some smoke coming off of his helium neon laser pistol.
Yeah. That's all gas, all helium and neon leaking out. And it says Astonishing Tales featuring Deathlok the Demolisher.
That's pretty great. The Demolisher. I think I'm going to start calling you Jank the Demolisher.
Yeah, we need some alliteration though. It's got to be like Jank the Jack-offinator.
But yeah, the Deathlok logo there's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of shaky. It's got like an old school horror comic type of thing with the shaky letters, like the edges are all rough and stuff like that. But then the O at the end there has got a big like bullseye in it, and at the top of the bullseye there's like a chrome skull. It looks like.
Yeah, it's like a target, like you're looking through the scope of a rifle at a bullseye. Yeah. And, a little skull there at the top. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot to like about this Deathlok guy. You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a lot going on for himself up front.
He's a demolisher. And look, he's also patriotic. He's got a little American flag there over his right chest.
In the future, patriotism's cool. So that's like kind of the top third of the page just against a red background. And then the cover kind of takes up the bottom 2/3 of the page. And it's got Deathlok there front in the middle. He's just kind of standing there with his legs really spread there. He's kind of doing
Jack Kirby-esque in the leg stretching.
Yeah, very much so. One hand just kind of out, I don't know, doing finger curls. And the other hand, he's got his gun pointed right at the reader there. He's got his little flag on his chest, and he's got his face looks kind of weird. Like the robot part kind of looks also green underneath, like that skin has gone green. But the other half just kind of looks burned, so I don't know what's going on there. But then in the background, it's kind of a white background, and it's kind of a collage of different scenes of him doing things. Like there's one where he's got a scientist cowering behind him, and he's throwing like a big chunk of metal or like a door or something at a bunch of other scientist guys. Then there's one off to the left there where he's kind of just he's kneeling down, loading his gun. Then we get a shot of him standing over some guy with his gun who he apparently has just shot. And then down at the bottom it says "Death Machine for Hire." Except that's not at all what's happening in this issue. Looking for his boyfriend.
His boyfriend.
His princess is in another castle.
That's pretty much what's going on, yeah. We should say his like outfit, it's like he's got like a red spandex outfit on the chest and pants.
Yeah, you can see the $6 Million Man references there, or inspirations in that.
Yeah, but then the rest of them's like all metallic and, robot-y. So, all right, there it is. It's a pretty good cover. I mean, the background collages could have been better, I would say. Like, more exciting. Like the one where he's loading his gun. That could be better.
You don't think that's what people are plopping down their 25 cents for? Watch him load a gun. Good thing he's a robot. He can do it.
He's a demolisher. But it's pretty good, pretty good. All right, so Stan Lee presents Deathlok, the Demolisher, the enemy, us. Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know how we got involved in this. I didn't do
anything.
Yeah.
So, big splash page here of Deathlok kicking at the camera, like kicking the hell out of a door. And in the top left, we see
I don't know, it's a really weird picture of his leg. Like his leg is really high up there.
Yeah,
he's doing like some Rockettes kicks right there. Like, I don't know if you needed to go that high to kick a door.
And in the top left, there's a little insert panel of a shadowy figure with like a sniper pointing his gun at the camera. And then in the bottom right, there's a circular scope view of the back of Deathlok. And he's also got like a backpack on, like Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a backpack or that's just his giant, back metal piece. Which either way, it sounds like a bad idea to try to shoot him in that. Like, not going to have a lot of luck getting through there, I would think.
I'm guessing that's like his power source and everything, right?
Yeah, probably.
And so we get some narration here just to give a taste of it.
Boy,
the white box, rounded edges, in a more computer-like font is the computer talking. It says, "Warning, pursuance of present course of action jeopardizes future activity." And then the yellow narration, squared traditional box, it's his thoughts. And he says, "Sure, Peter, kicking through a worm-eaten door is going to kill us. You're real smart." I mean, I could be rigged to a booby trap. Come on, Deathlok, figure it out.
Yep. Although you think if he's a robot, he could scan on the other side and know what's on there before he even kicks it down.
You're just assuming all ribbits can scan? Come on. Not all ribbits can scan. But some just make waffles.
If only. This would have been a better comic.
So then Deathlok says, besides, even if there is danger, ain't nothing going to stop me from freeing my buddy Mike. He's a hostage in this stride. He's a hostage in this building, and smashing the door down is the easiest way to get to him. So stuff it, huh? A lot of dropping letters and stuff in his words, and he almost like a little bit like the Thing when he's talking.
Ooh,
I got a Thing. Yeah.
But not as classy. Like his just comes off as, kind of from the Bronx slang, like, whereas this guy just, I don't know.
Kind of a jerk.
Yeah. He's just trying to be cool by abbreviating everything, and it's not working.
So then the computer says, clarification, obliteration of door is not source of danger. Remaining in sniper's gun sight is.
I like the way you read that. It was very Todd Teacher-esque. He wanted you to say ding at the end of it.
That's a reference to one of my friends. He writes books of poetry, and he comes on the LCS Hockey Show. Yeah, I can see Todd the Demolisher. So then we see the next page, we see Deathlok ducking a bullet. And, yeah, he really does. And again, he's giving it back to the computer. So why didn't you say so? Would have had a little more time to duck at least.
Yeah.
And then the computer breaks down the bullet, the ballistic trajectory, terminated impact with pressure bomb located within building. And then Deathlok says, you don't say. So you're getting a sense of what's going on here. A lot of conversations between Deathlok and the computer. And,
yep. No sign of another personality here. Just the robot and the computer and the human.
And at some point, there's a third personality, they call it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's always like sparring with the computer. He's not a fan of this computer guy. We should also mention Deathlok, like the left side of his face is more metallic and robotic, and he's got a giant red eye on the left side.
He needs Ben Stein to bring him some Clearasil. Or whatever that stuff is.
Clear
eyes. Yeah. I've been putting Visine my eyes for years, and it hasn't worked out.
That's why it didn't work. Yeah, that's why I just more and more red.
Well, my eyes are acne free, so that's good.
That's good. But he looks up to look for the shooter, and the sniper abandoned his rifle on the building there. He just took off without his gun. He's
in such a hurry.
But yeah. So how does Deathlok catch up with his sniper, Jack?
Well, as the sniper is going to jump from one rooftop to the other there, and I guess that Deathlok is on that same rooftop that he's about to jump from, so he shakes the whole building down, and
he's down at the base of it,
the girders, so pushing him apart, so the building collapses, and that guy falls.
Yep, and he splats on the ground. Now, this is where the confusion starts with the book.
Yeah.
Because that guy hits the ground there, and he's wearing like a blue suit. And I guess he's dead, because that's a pretty big fall. But we don't see his face at all. What's going on there? That's his hair, the top of his head, like his hair. We don't see his face.
Yeah. I guess he's balding, would be my guess. That's the top of his head.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be like a full head of hair, though. See how, we're just seeing his head. But anyway, he says, then Deathlok's standing there. He says, I already recognize him, Peter. He's one of the slimy jerks who kidnapped Mike in the copter. The copter I traced here with the sensors in my copter. A lot of copters.
So many copters and computers.
We're getting a big shot of Deathlok's face here. We should mention his left eye is the big red robotic eye. He has stuff to make robotic into robotic. And then his right eye's got a scar. Right down the middle, all the way down his face. And and his nose is kind of gone.
It's like a little pig nose. It's all, it's got little snouts.
It's almost like his brain is exposed.
Yeah? Yeah, almost.
On the back left there. So, all right. So,
It looks like he has a little bit of hair back there, so good for him.
yeah. Good for him.
He's clinging on to his youth.
It's all that clear seal he puts in his eye. So the computer's like, the computer then says, correct, albeit evidence of helicopter's proximity non-existent. And then Deathlok says, look, computer, if the sensors say it's around here, it's around here. Yeah. There's a lot, man. I don't know, because of these copters.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, let's just
get
through it
to a flashback.
Yes. Because he says, from the time they called me in for interrogation. So he's going back to a time when they called him in for interrogation after he first started resisting their programming. So now we get a flashback.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to tell the flashback panels because they got little notches taken out of their corners. So that's one of the keys. And,
did not even notice that.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that made this so confusing.
Well, I did notice it, and it was still confusing. And we see him waking up like Wolverine on that X in Australia.
Yeah.
He's like, on to this big X thing. And we see his programmers, that Stryker fella. He's talking to his other scientist in this laboratory. And he's like, hey, he's starting to resist our program. We got to, fix this. We can't be having this. And they're trying to figure out how to get him back in line. But Deathlok's personality he calls them baboons. That's something. He says, I'm already awake, you stupid baboons.
If only Shockmo was in here. That would have made it so much better.
And that Stryker's like, what the? That's Luther Manning's voice coming out of the Deathlok cyborg. So who you expect, Riker babes? Doris Day, maybe? Man. This is something.
Guys, all the hip 1990s references.
That's right. And, Major Riker, the computer's going wild, and then he busts free, and he grabs that Riker guy by the face and just slams him back into a computer. And he's like leaving the door of the flashback. He says he's mad at them, turning him into a machine. Now, if you'll forgive my manners, I got to split. Got something to do. All right, so that's on the left part of the screen. And then the right panel, the notches are out of the corners of the panel. So now we're back to today, present day. We see him ripping through a door, just like he was in the flashback. But now he's looking at a guy in a blue suit on the ground, but it's not the assassin that fell off the roof. Which that was one of the confusion, because it's like, wait, is he back? But no, it's a different guy in a different blue suit on the ground. Right?
Yeah, that he is apparently just killed by blasting through the door.
And he
sees this guy and he's like, this is Mike. Oh, he's like, oh. So I was like, oh, I don't know who Mike is. This is probably Mike then, I guess. You found Mike. That's good.
And then the computer says, incorrect. Although identity of corpse unknown, it is not Mike Travers. Shouldn't Deathlok have known it's not Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, he's not, apparently being in a death-like state does not do much for your cognition.
But so at this point, I thought, oh, maybe this is like a running gimmick where Deathlok is kind of, he thinks everybody's Mike. You know, like that's.
Yeah.
That could work.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
He's always trying to rescue Mike, but really there isn't a Mike.
He just keeps shooting everyone. He's like, oh, I killed Mike. Oh, no.
But Deathlok now says, all right, so it's not Mike, but your memory tapes are slipping, Pewter. If you don't recognize this guy as another one of Riker's goons, wait a minute, I smell something. And computer says, impossible, olfactory sense obsolete by nature. Yeah, because you lost your nose. And he says, then how come I smell dead flesh, as well as some of the living variety? So he spins around with his gun, and now he's in a completely different, like, where he's not standing where he was a second ago. He's in a completely different room now. Like, there's a refrigerator door knocked off the hinges.
Yeah, it's like the Rocky, butcher place where he was beating up the meat.
Which goes back to Jank the jerk-offinator. But why he just was sitting there looking at that guy who he wasn't Mike, who he thought was Mike. He just turns around and now he's in a different place entirely. There's no Mike on the ground.
He's knocked on another door, I guess, while he was in his trance of thinking it was Mike. I don't know.
Yeah, so confused. So there's just a bunch of guys with guns
like an
there.
acid trip or something.
Yes.
There's no connectivity.
And he just shoots one of the dudes right in the face. Oh, that's pretty cool. And the other guys are shooting him. So now we get the scene on the cover where he picks up a big metal door and he chucks it at some of the guys.
Yeah.
And now he's hunting through the big slabs of meat. Yeah, because it's like meat's hanging from the ceiling on these belts and everything. And why don't you take it from here, Jen? Because you like Rocky. So this is like a Rocky guy.
Yeah. So he sees one of the guys kind of hiding behind the meat, and he's like, "Oh, I know how to take this guy out." He pulls on the rack of meat. Actually, that doesn't happen for a little bit. But what does he do here? I think he sees. I don't know. This got very confusing. He's like, "I gotta get out of here before that stinking computer takes over again. Door ahead, maybe the way out." And he sees a guy who he thinks is Mike, and I thought was Mike because this guy never denies it.
Yeah. But he does shoot a guy right through some meat, and it goes right through the meat.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And shoots the guy in the chest. And then there's another guy shooting at him from behind some crates. So Deathlok runs through the door, and now he gets into another room, and there's Mike.
Yeah. The Deathlok cyborg, Luther Manning, and Deathlok's like, Mike Travers? They got you playing with computer tapes. They'll brainwash you, Mike. They'll program your brain. And yeah, this guy doesn't deny being Mike, and the computer never says this isn't Mike, so I'm assuming this is Mike.
And he recognizes Luther Manning. And he's like, Luther, I don't know how you got your own head back, but you've got to realize that you've been programmed. And Deathlok says, yeah, I remember they shoved computer cards right into this slot in my arm, but they've done it for the last time, Mike. I ain't nobody's bloody machine. And he rips off the little box on his arm where they put the things in.
That's right.
And then he starts flipping out. He's like, I'm going to take out all this computer complex. And he's really straining to, like, I don't know, lift a computer off a desk. I don't know what he's doing there. But, yeah.
I don't know either, yeah. There's no way all that stuff came out of his arm. That's a lot.
So there's a bunch of dudes with guns outside the door, and then Deathlok picks up a giant computer desk or whatever and just chucks it at him. And
don't worry, Mike, I'll protect you from these lunatics.
And they're all shooting. It's Riker and his guys, and they're shooting guns at him and whatnot. And he just grabs Mike by the wrist and says, I'll save you. And he just jumps through a window. So, luckily they land on a rooftop right next to a copter. That's a lot of copters.
So many copters.
So then Mike's like, hey, Deathlok, these guys are going to kill us. And he's like, no, just fire up the copter. I'll take care of these guys. And Deathlok just grabs one of them and chucks him off the roof.
Yep.
But it looks like he's throwing him down at the ground, down at the bottom. There's like guys with guns too, and he says he's going to be their bullet shield. He's just throwing them down there.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a bunch of villagers with pitchforks and torches. Yeah.
And now we get one flashback panel.
Yeah.
Of Riker shooting at their helicopter as it's flying away. And now the next panel, we're back to the meat locker.
Yeah. When she left, he's on the roof with the copter now. Why are we back in the meat locker?
I have no idea what is happening. I guess when he was in the meat locker and he went through the door to find Mike, I guess that triggered, like that was start. Like if you go back, there's a 3-panel combination where some bullets are trying to hit him from behind or even from the front. And it's like yellow panels, 3 sequential panels. The first one's got the flashback notches in it. But then none of the other ones do. So I guess that's like the beginning of a new flashback. So then everything happened with Mike and jumping through the window was more flashback. But the panels weren't designated as such.
Jesus. I don't know.
So now he's back in the meat locker where he was before that flashback kicked in. And yeah, he hits a guy with the meat on a hook and like hurts his back. And the guy's like, my back, my neck, my back and my neck. And
he dies. Yeah, he just freaking dies from getting hit in the back with some meat, apparently.
Death by meat. And Deathlok put the gun to him. He's like, tell me what I need to know. Where's Travers? And the guy just dies. And Deathlok's sad that he died before he could officially kill him with his gun. And he's so mad.
I was so confused because he's like, you've got Mike. He's in the copter on the roof. What are you talking about?
It's so weird. So then, but Deathlok is so mad, he just turns around and starts shooting meat. He's just... Yet now, he's back in a helicopter with Mike.
Yep. Oh my God. Yeah, this whole issue needs to be up for best what the fuck moment because I don't know what they were thinking.
And he tells Mike, why don't you land the copter on a roof so we can get something to eat?
You were just in a place with all that meat. Maybe if you didn't shoot it all, you could have eaten some of it.
So he makes a fire on the roof and he's like, I don't know, roasting hot dogs or something. And Mike is recalling how Luther died in that military accident. And the next thing you know, alert, danger, offensive launched by humanoid cannibals. What? Just a bunch of humanoid cannibals pop up on this rooftop out of nowhere. Yep.
Wow, yeah, Doug Moench clearly had too many ideas and not enough panels because, boy, he's just throwing everything at the wall here.
Like, if you look at the panel where they got the fire on the roof, in the back left corner, you can see some guys climbing up on the roof. But they're humanoid cannibals. And Deathlok starts fighting these guys, and one of them tries to bite his metallic leg. He just punches him, crushes his skull. So, but now, the guys stole Mike, and they put him in another copter. Oh, good Lord. And then we just get one random flashback panel of him fixing his knee. And I don't know. But basically, he has sensors that are telling him that they're going to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
That's where they took Mike. So he's now, he gets there on his copter and he just goes jumping out of the bottom of the copter on a ladder.
Yeah, just starts shooting everybody. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, and this is the part where he says, all right, see how this narration box is in green and it's outlined with a thicker border? Like a frame? This might be, so this is like, it says, feel spurting death slicing through scarlet-ripped, hated human flesh, destroying, killing, slashing, cutting beauty. And then we go over to
there were a bunch of panels like that. I guess, okay, that's the third personality.
Yes. Because then Deathlok says, you know, Peter, I've been wondering, is it you or me who contributes the sixth streak to our third personality? So, yeah, I don't know either, Deathlok. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's just murdering a bunch of dudes. And we see Stryker in there, and he's like, hurry, man, hurry. I hear him outside. He knows we're here in the statue, and it must be ready by the time he gets here.
Mm-hmm.
And Deathlok says, "All right, cream puffs. I know Mike Travers is in there."
We just give up already. Mike Travers is gone.
And he's like, "Mike and me were army buddies, best friends. And I can't quit him. He even saved my life once when I was still alive. So you can see why nothing's going to stop me from evening the score by busting him out." And Deathlok, he also has that helium neon laser pistol and a knife.
Yeah, and his teeth like a badass. That's always the most
He would have a
badass
more advanced weapon than a knife.
Maybe it's a helium neon knife.
He's just got a pair of scissors he stabs you with. And the computer's like, warning, present course of action reckless. All logic systems indicate danger of trap. Emotions overriding logic. Repeat, danger. All probability data indicates trap. And then we turn and we get a big splash page. And what do we see, Jank, on this final page?
Well, our buddy Riker is there. He's like, "Welcome, Deathlok. I presume you wish to find Mike Travers, or perhaps I should refer you to your former friend by his new name, the cyborg Warwolf." And Mike Travers has turned into a big orange, freaky-looking monster.
Yeah, the werewolf. Half robot, half cat monster or something. I don't know. I guess a wolf.
Yeah. Which, I mean, seems like they've done a lot to Mike Travers in the 5 minutes since they kidnapped him back.
Yeah, Deathlok was literally right on their tails.
Yeah.
In his copter.
They did not have a lot of time, but apparently they do quick work. Like an oil change place. They can turn you into a cyborg in 5 minutes flat.
And at the bottom of the computer's like, "Warning, danger imminent, unavoidable. Next issue, wasted by the werewolf." Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
That's it.
I feel like that's got to be a better issue because at least it's fighting somebody, and maybe it's told in a linear fashion. But
yeah, I get what they're trying to do with the flashbacks, kind of maybe. But yeah, you have to do a way better job of differentiating between the present and the flashback.
Yes.
It was so confusing. And then when you start using a technique like the notched corners on the panels, you have to keep doing it. You can't just stop.
Because if there's panels that are clearly part of the flashback and you're not doing it, really just, really confusing the issue.
It makes it even worse. So, and you can't have a flashback start where Deathlok is standing over top of a guy in a blue suit. And then when the flashback ends, he's standing over a different guy in a blue suit. Can't do it that way.
Yeah, that's very confusing. I mean, I guess it could be done where it's like, oh, this reminds me of that time I saw this other guy in a blue suit, but I don't know. The way they did it was, this was not.
Computer, is this Mike? My best friend?
I never can tell. That's your wife. But is it Mike?
Yeah, this is I don't know, man. This was rough.
Yeah. I don't think I can give it more than a 1. It might be below, Steel Grip Starkey for me because
man,
as much as nothing was happening there, at least I understood when nothing was happening. This was just frustrating.
I like Deathlok though. I think I like the concept of Deathlok.
Sure. Nothing.
We learned that he clearly influenced Spawn, as we learned.
Yeah, big time.
I like his he's got a gruff personality. I kind of like him always sparring with Pewter, but then the third. I don't know if we need a third personality getting in there as well. That was
just rambling about random words and things that are happening. I don't know.
So there's a lot I like here. He's got a cool look, cool visual,
Yep.
He's not scared to kill people.
I didn't think the art here was that great.
Yeah, I like Buckler because he's a traditional, again, he studied from Kirby, and I like his art usually. But yeah, it was seemed looser and not as, well done. for Buckler. But again, this is 1974, and Deathlok's just murdering dudes, like shooting a guy in the face, throwing another guy off a building, busting another guy's back with meat.
Do this.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is a edgier book, I guess, for 1974.
Yeah,
but,
I guess that's something.
I like the character and concept, but like you said, the execution is just not there.
Yeah, it was pretty abysmal.
I'll still give it like a 3, I think.
Okay, just because you like Deathlok.
Yeah, I like Deathlok.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I don't hold this against the character. I would read other things that were written by other people, but in consideration, I think I'm out.
Doug Moench was trying way too hard here. It's simple story, Doug. Just the robot is revolting against his creators.
Yep.
And he likes to shoot
trying to save his buddy. That's all you need. Just tell that story well.
He's got to save Mike. But he doesn't know what Mike looks like.
Oh, that's insane.
Good old Deathlok. Learned a lot though today. So
sure. Yeah.
I love that. So, all right, that's it for Deathlok. What do you got for us next week, Jack?
Okay, so I had a couple of thoughts on what to do next week, and I think I'm going to go with this one. There is a book that I've always wanted to read. I've always meant to get around to reading it, but I haven't, and I think it's about time that we do so here on the show, because it'll force me to finally do it. And plus, we've also been talking about doing, a Marvel graphic novel at some point. And, Emperor Doom is extra long, and you were saying it's probably not that good.
Yeah, I heard mixed things. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to pick one that I believe is good to kind of recover from this Deathlok incident. And we're going to do Marvel graphic novel number 1, The Death of Captain Marvel.
Wow. Yeah, I've never read this either.
Yeah. I've heard about it. I've seen panels from it and stuff, but never actually sat down to read the thing. So I believe it's supposed to be pretty good.
You know what year it's from?
I don't know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to guess probably around 81-ish, 82-ish.
All right.
But we'll figure it out next week. Yeah, The Death of Captain Marvel, the very first graphic novel, a very famous story. Never read it. So that'll be next week here on The Big Show. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We appreciate the support. And until then, don't get any jank on you.